Just 24 hours after the sinking of the Titanic, the chief steward on board the steamer, the Prince Adalbert, took this photograph of an iceberg. Totally unaware of the tragedy that had just happened, he says he saw red paint on its side, which looked like it had been made by the scraping of a vessel. It's not clear whether the historic snapshot actually shows the iceberg that sank the Titanic or simply one that was in the area at the time. But when it's auctioned in Wiltshire later today, it's expected to fetch between £10,000 and £15,000.
What's important about this particular image is the provenance, the history. It was owned by Burlinghams, and Burlinghams were a company of attorneys in New York, and they represented the White Star Line in the liability hearings that resulted from the sinking of the Titanic.
The luxury liner was 4 days into a week-long transatlantic crossing from Southampton to New York when it collided with an iceberg. A lookout in the Crow's Nest, who had not been given binoculars, spotted the hazard just 37 seconds before the impact. In less than 3 hours, the Titanic sank to the bottom of the Atlantic. Out of more than 2,000 people on board, there were only around 700 survivors. Titanic memorabilia is still big business. A menu from the day of the disaster was sold for £76,000, and a violin played on the day the ship sank went for nearly £1 million. Frankie McCamley, BBC News.